Hello, and thank you for watching the Commons EMS Web App tutorial videos. My name is Savannah J. Smith, and I am the Event and Systems Coordinator in the Monroe Park Campus Commons building. I aid in booking academic spaces on this campus, as well as doing back-end admin work for EMS and the web app, as far as account access and troubleshooting. In this video, I will show you how to book a space on the Webapp site. Once you're logged in and the homepage is visible, you can start a booking in 3 different ways. So here you can see the homepage. Your first option to book a space is to select a space on the homepage list. So this list is a compilation of spaces that are available to you based on your reservation template access. So for me, it's this big long list. You may have more, you may have less than me, just depends on your department, your affiliation, your access, and your credentials. So to start your reservation from here, you can click book now. So let's say I'll do this one, book now, next to the space that you want, and then it'll take you to this page where it prompts you for information about the event, i.e. the date, time, number of people, and you'll just have to enter that information. And once you enter this information, you will be led to more thorough event details and questions such as event time, type, the client, the group, organization, department, etc., that you're reserving space for. Depending on the space, there may be more or less information to give, but that's all very dependent on the instance. So I'll just fill in some information here for you just to show you. We'll do 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. And we'll make it for March 25th. So I generally like to make my searches pretty broad when I'm reserving stuff. It really depends on the event. If you need a certain space for a certain number of people, you can make a you can make a preference as far as number of people, and it'll give you spaces that holds that number or more. So that's pretty helpful, but I generally like to keep it pretty broad and just do the date and time, and it'll give you all of the spaces that are available, and it's saying nothing. So let's see. Okay. Let's pick another day. Okay. Here we go. Let's just say we want to do the Rams Lounge. You just click the little plus button there on the side, and then you'll have to enter the number of people. I'll just put 8. Setup type will be a drop down here. You don't have very many spaces just because of COVID right now. If you're watching this in the future, this was recorded in February 2021, so we still had restrictions, but you will need to select the setup type. And again, later on when things kind of go back to normal, there should be more options. And then depending on the space, there may be more or less options as far as setup. But for right now, you either have standard or clear space, and standard is going to be like a general classroom setup with chairs and rows. And so I'm just going to do clear space, and we'll do add room. So it looks like there's a conflict here. We might be able to change the time. Let's just play around with that. Make it 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. There we go. Okay, that makes more sense. I think I had the end time ending in AM, so make sure that you are paying attention to that as well, because that will give you an error, obviously, as you just saw. So we're going to try Rams Lounge again. 8 people, clear space, add room. There we go. And then once it successfully is added to your room request, it'll give you this little blurb about the space, just letting you know the procedures and guidelines of having an event in the space. And then this down here is for COVID, so make sure you read that and make sure that you're updated on that information. You can continue to add multiple spaces if you want. I'm just going to do the one. You just have to click next step, and then here you'll just need to fill out this information. Make sure you click I've read and agree to the terms and conditions. And for AV, you can book AV. You'll just need to select what you need. It may be a little limited right now because of COVID, but again, normally you may have more or less options depending on the space. Food, let's see. Food will not be served, so you just need to answer this according to what is pertinent to your event. And then, let's see. Alcohol, catering, that kind of stuff, you'll need to answer all of that. Furniture, normally you have more furniture options. As of right now, it's kind of limited, so you can select those if need be. And next step, and then it'll take you to another form, the very last page, and you'll just need to answer these questions according to your organization and your event. So just make sure that all of these blanks highlighted in red are filled out, and then you can hit create reservation, and then you'll be good to go from there. And then just like when you're online shopping, there is a cart here. You can see what is in your cart, what reservations you have going on that are in progress and not completed yet. So that's kind of how you book a space from the home page. And next I'll show you a different way that you can book space. So your second option for booking a space is to select the Create a Reservation tab on the left side of the home page. And this will give you a full list of spaces that you see on the home page. From this elongated list, you can select Book Now as we did on the home page previously and follow the previous instructions I just gave you for booking from the home page. Or you can read more about each space by clicking About. So if you remember, when we just booked from the homepage, we clicked Book Now. But if you go to create a reservation on the left side, it just kind of elongates that list. So if you're looking for a space that may not be on this list, or if this is confusing to you and you'd rather do it a different way, I can show you how to do it a different way. But create a reservation, this is a pretty general way of doing it. For me, the most common spaces I would book if I was to use the web app would be the Commons Huntin' Lyric reservation template. And probably for you all as well, the Commons is probably going to be a common one. So just make sure you're selecting the right one though. Make sure you're reading student org department, reading what it is. That way you don't pop up with any errors or anything and nothing gets confusing. So from the Create a Reservation tab, it's just the same process. You can hit Book Now, and it'll take you to the same thing that we just did. So that's pretty simple and easy. If you get to this page and you want to pick a different reservation template, or you've picked the wrong one and you need to change it, you can hit this little X here. And it's going to ask you start over, and just read. If you want to start over, all the information you've entered will be lost. You can either say use the current template, stay here, or select a new template. If you select a new one, it'll just take you back to this page. It's an easy way to go back to where you were. And the other way of booking a space, we'll go back to the home page, and you will just be clicking the locations page. And that'll bring up the familiar grid here with the dates and times and spaces. So all you'll need to do is scroll through and find the space that you are wanting. You can also do find a room. If you know the name of the room, you can type that in there. You can add a filter on it as far as capacity, features, floors, room types, setup types, and you can be specific about the locations. This gives you like a list of the buildings that are available to you. So you can really specify your search if you don't want to scroll through. Mine is a pretty long list. Yours is most likely going to be shorter, depending on if you're in a student org or a department, what have you. So it may look a little different, but from here, you're just going to select a date. You're probably not going to be able to book something on the same day that you're searching, if that makes sense. So you'll want to pick one that's at least 2 weeks out or 10 business days out. We do have a policy where you'll need to submit your reservations 10 business days prior to that event date, just so that we're able to process it, prepare for it, make sure that there's room for you and your organization or department. So you'll just have to pick a date. I'm going to pick March 31st, and that will pop up. So here we are, Wednesday, March 31st. I scrolled down to the Commons building spaces. And for this example, I'm gonna try to book the Virginia rooms from 2 to 3 p.m. So from here, you can just click on the grid and it'll pop up here with this little box asking you to define the time and making sure you have the right template. So since if I was booking a space, I would be considered under a department. So department request would be correct for me. And if the 1 hour time slot isn't long enough for what you and your organization needs, you can always change that here. Let's say 5 p.m. and then continue. And it'll take you right back to that familiar page with the prompts for information, and you'll just fill it out as we did previously. If you click list here, it'll give you a list of all the spaces that are available on the date and time you have entered. And schedule it'll show you a grid with the lines of your event that you're requesting, so you can see the red lines go from 2 to 5 p.m. And that is showing you what is free in that window of time there. That's super, super helpful. I highly recommend trying this out and doing this, using it. It is very, very helpful. And again, this is just a simple list, whereas the schedule gives you that grid with the red lines, and that is, again, extremely, extremely helpful. And from here, you can add rooms. Like that, and then again, enter the prompted information as we did previously. To be honest, this is my favorite way of booking, simply because you're able to see the full availability before attempting to book your space. It really just kind of lays it all out for you here, and it gives you that distinct timeline. And I'm a very visual person, so this really helps me, and I think it would really be helpful if you guys just went ahead and used this method. So that is the way that you are able to book, the different ways you're able to book. So you have a few different ways. Again, you can do it from the home page here through the Book Now buttons. If you have a space that you see on the home page that you would want to book under those specific reservation templates, again, you can go to create a reservation, and it gives you that kind of same thing. You can go book now, gives you that elongated list, or you can go through locations and it pops up that grid for you, and you can select the date there, the filters, all of that good stuff. Again, doing it through the locations tab is my biggest recommendation. You all will find that this is a much easier way, at least in my opinion it is. So yes, if you end up having any questions about how to reserve a space, feel free to email me at smithsj2@vcu.edu, or feel free to email our main office email account at uscaevent@vcu.edu. Otherwise, good luck with your bookings, and thank you for watching.